Welcome, everybody, to the Onward VR Master League Season 11, Week 12. My name is 13. My name is Nightfire with two E's. I'm joined here with my co-caster, Theta, and we are bringing to you a top-tier NA matchup. Kai versus Mayhem, ranked 10 and ranked 9 in the ladder worldwide accordingly. Really excited to dive into this series today, Theta, and I want to get your initial thoughts on the matchup that we're going to get into.
Well, first of all, this is going to be a hotly contested match because Mayhem is number 11 right now, and Kai just jumped up the rankings after beating Silent Purge just yesterday, and they are now number 10. So that is going to be something everybody's going to be thinking about on the field today, is we need to win this, because a win on either side, I think, puts them at the very least on the very precipice of getting into the closed qualifier.
Yeah, we'll see, what these squads bring to the table today. I imagine, maybe some unique plays, honestly, some strats that they're trying to innovate on that they can bring out here to get them a round or two. I expect intensity, looking for caps. And for those that maybe are tuning in and don't know what they're tuning in for, this is Onward. It is a 5 versus 5 military simulator. It's search and destroy style objective. The Marsoc team, the blue team, is attacking the objective. The Volk team, the what would you call that? Red team is defending. And the goal is to defuse the bomb at the objective, essentially. I think would be the best way to put it. There's a 7-digit code you have to enter in, and that gets you 2 points if you do. Otherwise, if you kill the enemy team, you can net 1 point. First to 4 wins the map. We play 3 maps, and as you can see here, we have a pick ban cycle. So Mayhem, as they are home, have the first ban, so they can ban 1 map from being played. There's a large map pool that we rotate throughout the course of a season that they pick from. And then Kai get the second ban. Those bans are USS Quest and I believe Subway accordingly. And we always like to talk about these because they're, what is the reason for the bans? And Theta, I want to get your thoughts on the bans here for today.
Well, just looking at the statistics, it looks like Mayhem is banning USS Quest as what's called a ban for weakness, which means it's a map they don't particularly feel comfortable on, as they have a 27% round win rate this season on USS Quest. And Kai is banning Subway because Mayhem is very, very good at Subway. They have a 72% round win rate for this season, and unbelievably, they have 70% round win rate lifetime since Season 4. That should tell you how tight these guys are when they play Subway. So Kai saw that and said, no thank you, we're not facing you on your best map.
Yeah, no kidding. That is a interesting statistic there. And, when I was looking at top teams, you really got to have at least over 50% on all maps. If you're not in that 50% range or higher on a map, it's a serious weak point. And to that point, USS Quest, that's a terrible win rate to have on a map like that. And, I guess it's why they just don't even want it in the map pool. We're going to be headed to a bit of range for map number 1 onto Snow Peak. And this is Mayhem's map choice. So what do you think the strat is they're looking for here?
It's a little bit of a gamble because Snow Peak has both range and close quarters objectives, but I think what they're looking for is to stretch people out a little bit. They normally have Defilade. I see he's not on the roster today, so they don't have a sniper. But Mayhem in general is a better long-range team than anything. So that's what I think they're aiming for here.
Yeah, James certainly a good shot. We've seen him use long-range utility before, and he can certainly be a threat from range. And yeah, it'll be exciting to watch them duke it out. The first objective is going to be outdoors, which does tend to be more range-based. But this objective can get close quarters quick, depending on the spawn and how the enemy team attacks the objective. Very excited to see Snow Peak here get played out. It's really quickly become one of my favorite maps over the course of this season in particular. As teams have played it more and more, you just get to see the strategies develop. And I mean, both of these squads done their homework. They're ready to battle it out against one another. I think we're ready to hop in. Both teams readied up. Looking at the active rosters coming in from Mayhem, we have Wookie, James Boak, the Sky Joker, Capitano, and Mono. To your point, no Defilade there for that sniping. And over on Kai, we have Engage, S, Etch, Base, Slappa, Dyslexic Dazzler, and R Semper. I mean, both rosters super strong. Kai coming off of a huge win from Silent Purge. If they can lock this in, Theta, it is just going to be a crazy good weekend for them. So I'm sure they're going to come in with their A game here as we dive into round 1.
No doubt about it. Playoffs on the line. You know both teams are bringing their A game.
Yeah, and you wonder what's on the line in playoffs. Well, it's $14,000 total in prizing, $10,000 in cash, $4,000 in hardware, all coming from our sponsors. You'll see them advertised on the scoreboard. We'll shout them out throughout the course of the stream. You may have seen some of their ads at the start. It's a super hype prize pool that we've announced just recently, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing teams duke it out for that. And yeah, it's the road to the postseason right now.
I'm sure you can agree, but this is my favorite time of the season because people they want it so bad. You can see it in the way that they play, and you get some of the spiciest plays of the whole season right at the end.
I mean, just earlier today on Onward _ VRML on Twitch, we had a fantastic EU matchup, and I saw strategies I hadn't seen before. Okay, I've watched this game for 5 years, and I saw strats on Cargo that I haven't seen before. It's crazy. Teams are innovating, and it never ends, and I just love seeing it. And I think it really is just a testament to how good of a game Onward is competitively. I mean, in terms of how much variety there is, and I think that's why people like playing it so much, right? Because you just never know what you're going to get every map every day. It's always different.
No doubt about it. This game can morph at the drop of a hat, it seems like. And Base Slappa here in the garage, looking through a very tight angle, and Wookie appears to be coming near him. Anybody comes through that garage, not likely to expect somebody underneath that Jeep.
Yeah, there's different ways to defend this garage. You know, you can vest on the outside, you can play it patiently. This is a good ankle biter position that will be very hard to check.
Over in the body is near South Horseshoe exit.
Center, though, James has caught out one, and they are setting up for a surrounding push here. They have, if you look at the overhead, everyone coming in from all different angles. We're going to have one come in through the center. Even if they lose garage, this setup is looking pretty good.
Yeah, I don't mean to cut you off or anything, but Wookie just made his entrance into the garage. And I don't think Base saw him because he didn't change his sight line at all. So this is going to be a nice little duel in the garage. Whoever sees who first. Yeah, Wookie keeps moving. I don't think either of them have spotted the other. He has to be very careful because Base does have most of the advantage. Although if Wookie can get behind this tank and get a view of his feet somehow.
Base will eventually hear Wookie, unless Wookie dips out to that far edge. I think Base could completely miss this. There is a follow-up defender. It is R Semper, but he's not exactly holding this angle. He's actually watching across through the underside of the stairs here with holding a very late commitment angle if a team decides to push in. And it's... I don't know. I'm not sure what the plan is going to be here for Wookie.
Oh, Wookie was just on his radio talking to Captain, and Base heard that. You could see him moving his sight line a little bit. Now 2 facing off against Base. Oh, and he spots him underneath the Jeep. Nice shot.
-1, Lima 3.
And James with a famous nade onto Dazzler right next to the objective as well. And this is looking like a potential cap. I mean, the entire objective right now is open.
Yeah, they do have Engage, who is still supporting that south side. He does get rid of Sky, and that's a big pickup. To your point of the cap being available, they still do have Semper covering over that garage side. He's dropping back, and as I say that, Wookie finds that rotation. And yeah, the cap opportunity is certainly here. Engage, the final defender. He does have comms from Dazzler, but is that going to be enough to allow him to properly hold and defend all by himself?
And Mayhem should have a proper kill count. There weren't any trades, as far as I remember. So it's just a matter of, okay, how much time do you want to suck up getting around this perimeter and then picking people off? And I don't think they have a great sense of where the last offender is, which is why they're taking it slowly. But James just spotted him.
There it is.
And there's the trade.
That'll get Mayhem a Marsoc W. Their map pick, and they started off just how they want to. Can't ask for a better out-the-gate play there from map 1. We'll see what Mayhem can do for map 2. That's their, for round 2. They go on the defensive on the same objective. That was also on my end, if you heard of those audio cues. But they go on the defensive on the same objective for, again, those maybe not familiar. Teams switch sides, and now Kai have to attack, and I'm very interested to sort of pop in to that Kai offense when they start to sort of hear what they're chatting about, because it's always interesting to know what the mentality is of these teams. A lot of them pretty loose, you know, they're just enjoying their time playing competitive Onward. But I can't imagine that right now either one of these teams is terribly loose. You know, they're just still getting warmed up here in these first few rounds, and I imagine Kai will want to be answering back here in kind with a round of their own. And at this point, I don't even know if a cap is really what you're looking for. You just want to get the kills to snag back that Marsoc round.
And this is a hard objective to defend, because the objective is in the middle of this, I don't know what to call it, a valley, almost like a bowl-shaped situation here, and there's so many different attack vectors, and a team that attacks well and has good timing can make it seem like you're just being attacked from everywhere, and it makes defenses fall apart really fast. And Kai has demonstrated they are excellent at those sorts of encapsulating well-timed attacks, so we'll see how Mayhem can cope with that.
Into round number 2 we go. Let's pop in to the... Oh, no. False start. We're going to pop into the comms of the Marsoc squad Kai there. They're getting a different spawn. You can see there out the gate on the mini-map that they are going to be spawning down here in the south. And, I mean, you can do some very quick damage here, Theta. If you want to talk about a cap, if they invest in setting up a defense out into the garage, if this south push just comes in full force, they could be on objective before the garage defense can rotate back. I mean, there's a real threat for a very quick push here up the south lane.
No doubt about it. And even if it's not just at the garage, investing in any one direction is dangerous on this, and as a result, defenses tend to get stretched out, which by itself is its own vulnerability. So if you have a team that, rather than take the encapsulating approach, decides to just send everybody through one direction, they find that one little wrinkle and then rip open the whole defense. So as you were saying, if Kai just goes south, very unlikely that Mayhem is going to be ready for that.
Listen to their comms here as we start round 1, 2. A lot of the communication actually going on before the start of the round there. Just talking about different defensive positions that they could be running into. And yeah, you look at the overhead, they are all committing heavily to this south push, utilizing this spawn to their advantage. Cappy is pushed up here, and he is going to be the alarm bell, so to speak, for this at least one player pushing in here. The spawn should be known as well. Off of that information, Theta, they should know now the south spawn is here.
Definitely. Even though Cappy lost that trade to some degree, now Mayhem knows where the spawn is, and they can start making adjustments as needed. A lot of teams like to take the south approach too, because there's so much cover before you reach the objective, that they will likely start adjusting and putting a heavy emphasis on the south now.
Yeah, you can see one in the tunnels there, still pretty far away when you look at the overhead. Committed deeply over there into the northeast. But the push coming in here from Semper, Dazzler, and Etch, and yeah, they have to all sort of adjust and recommit here. James throwing out some suppressive fire. He's shifted off of his initial position to support this south side, and It's going to be a heavy commitment here. And where is... Are they shifting at all? I don't really see much of a rotation here to catch out this heavy push.
No, in fact, it looks like Wookiee is going back to his position near the garage, if not extending himself out a bit. And now it's just James and Mono on the objective. And this is a pretty dangerous arrangement.
Super dangerous. We'll see if Dazzler is able to find this pick. This is going to kick things off. And wow, he doesn't spot him there. Doesn't have the angle of the sandbags. Just barely denying vision.
Wookiee took some shots in the south. James should know that there are people over there now.
Yeah, Dazzler's trapped.
When the trade between James and R. Semper now down to 3v4 in favor of Kai. And Joker now rotating back from his position in the tunnels. That is a wise decision at this point.
Yeah.
Although he's about to run into 2 Kai offenders now.
Oh, yeah, there's a nice swing there from them. The Gage catches out Sky. They're going to come in on a pinch, and Mono's here ready at one side. Wookiee's on the other, so at least they have an idea of where they need to be. But in that panic of rotating to try and defend from the south, they lost so many, and this is going to be a tough one to hold here. Mayhem may end up giving up their bulk round, and heck, there might be a cap on the table here. Wookiee goes down on objective. A smoke's there. Mono's got to be a touch bit concerned about the integrity of his objective.
Now, utility coming, blocking at least out. I was going to say he's going to block the south, but it's a little far. This is not a good feeling. You know there's people coming from both sides at this point.
I like this tuck. I like this push up against the wall. He finds Edge. Dazzler's there, and he can't get Dazzler. Had 2, couldn't get 3 and 4. Kai able to bounce back nicely, and this is what we're in for today, Theta. A good quality bit of Onward.
No doubt about it. And that's a tough objective to deal with. This one is much easier to defend. So I wonder if we're going to keep seeing this trend of Marsoc rounds getting traded. Maybe we'll reverse trend a little bit and go to Volk rounds instead.
Right.
Because this one, there's just so much space between where the spawns are for both sides. And you can look out onto the lake, you can look south from the objective. Like, there's all these places where you have distance, and you kind of have to force people to get close to you.
Yeah, the last, I think, I would say 3 out of the 5 objectives are close quarters. That one I do kind of consider close quarters. Very rarely do you get an opportunity to shoot long range on that map, unless it's the south lane and you're up at garage like Wookiee did. It is oftentimes kind of close on the wall exchanges like that, and this is one of 2 long range objectives, to your point. So yeah, maybe a little bit of a shifting in who wins what, but I mean, if that's any indicator of what we're going to get on the tight quarters, I don't know what's going to happen when we get into the, if we get over to the kill box or inside the tunnels. That should be equally as exciting as those last 2 rounds were.
Agreed. I think we're in for nothing but spice on this match.
And we go. Round number 3 begins. Pop into the comms of Kai again at the start of the round. Hear how they're strategizing their defense.
There's no smart peeking. There's smart angles.
That's right. That's right.
Because I might play the stairs.
Well, that was as good a thing as any to tune into. Right? There's no smart peeking. There's smart angles. I would say some people might think the opposite as a core mantra in this game, but hey, we'll see if Kai can hold fast on their angles and come out on top.
And you're seeing a lot of people playing in this position that Dazzler is in lately, because this stairwell is bulletproof. So if you need to, you can pop up, watch the south, and you're completely protected from them. although there's a bit of exposure towards the lakeside, so it's just a matter of IDing where the attack is coming from. Now he's moved up into the tower, and the problem here is that these sheet metal surroundings on the tower are all bulletproof. So they're sending some attackers south. See if they pre-fire it, maybe send an M203 up there.
You mean not bulletproof?
Oh, right, yeah. If I said bulletproof, exact opposite of that, guys. It's opposite day, right?
Oh man, you had me going there. I was like, I'm pretty sure you can get shot through the stairs and through all of this here, but yeah, it's risky to the point that you were trying to make. It's incredibly risky to be here. You're just basically elevated and somewhat hidden. You're not immune to bullets, and as soon as Dazzler finds those shots, that's an interesting strat. He just dives off, takes a bit of fall damage, but it's not enough to warrant a heal, and that's a kill.
Yeah, a lot of teams are just pre-firing those towers the moment they show up for that very reason. And Wookiee had an M203. I was a little surprised I didn't see a grenade round going over there, but I don't know, he could have even been lining up the shot and then just got picked before he had a chance.
Tough start for Mayhem, and to your point, we might be into the trading of Volk rounds now. Engage taking a pretty standard defensive position, a powerful one at that. You can stay really deep in cover. These are not penetrable, and you can peek through this gap, and it just gives you a great bit of vision all the way across the lake. The only weakness is its height, and that if you do play it pretty tight to engage his position, you can stay hidden from him, and so it's kind of to the point, it does tend to be a good long-range defensive position, but if this Mayhem squad rides that corner of the lake, it could be an option to kind of push up and challenge him right away at those Heskos.
No doubt about it. The only downside is, and I only say this because I've died there before, is if people ID you behind that fence and they're coming from more of the south side, they can shoot through that fence, which, like the tower, is penetrable.
I also have base on that hill, so he has eyes, and I mean Mono's doing exactly what we're talking about here, that he knows the weakness of this position. He's going to stay.
So I think there's a setup coming here. James is watching the base of that tower. I think they know what's going on, and if he drops a nade into that base area of the tower, he could potentially get a double kill off of that.
He is the nade expert.
As I say that, he rotates away from it. It looked like he was trying to get an angle on it, but apparently not. Instead, he takes out base.
Joker, North Tower is down. Is dead. Or down.
Important pickup for him, and it actually allows Mono to, again, do exactly what we're talking about. Drops past engage, and now that base is dead, Mono can actually push him from behind. Is there a thread for a cap here? There is. He can get behind this whole defense completely undetected and punch in the code as long as he stays silent.
And the question is, will there be enough time on the clock for Mono to get a cap?
Oh, jeez.
We're passing the 2-minute mark. It might be a tight squeeze. We'll see.
No smokes. Just commit to going, and there's a real thread here. Cappy, on the other end, is challenging close quarters. Finds one. Dazzler's still here, though. Do you think he's going to be prepped for Dazzler's position as well? Doesn't seem like it.
Well, what's so odd about their position is that they put 2 right there, so he probably got that 1 kill and thought, okay, this is clear now. But that was obviously not the case, but Mono's making his move. Mono got past Engage, too. Engage was looking down that line, but he looked away at just the wrong moment. And Mono's going for a clear around objective, but he is wide open for a cap right now.
He really is.
Nobody has eyes on the objective right now.
And they're not bothering to look because they're holding forward angles. They're trusting that Engage hasn't missed anything, because really, how could he? It's just a small slice of a space that they have to go past, and base was covering it, but I don't even know if they recognize they've lost that coverage. And Mono just has to commit. It's the question of will he? 30 seconds now. The time is ticking down. He's not going for it. He's looking for kills instead.
Yeah, he likely does not have a kill count at the moment.
How could you know where everyone is? You know, he obviously doesn't have this vision that we have, so he's fully clearing around before he commits to this, and after he's found nobody...
Here we go. He's getting on the objective.
He has 10 seconds. He has 10 seconds.
Come on, Mono. 10 seconds.
Redeem yourself, Mono. Oh, no.
Oh, he doesn't get it. No. Oh.
And that's tough. And, you know, we were encouraging him to go. We see the openness there, but he doesn't. He doesn't know that nobody's on objective. That's ridiculous to think that that would be open like that. And he does it right. You know, I think he plays that right, despite the criticism that I may be throwing out there. It is the proper way to play that. You play it conservatively. You search all the way around. You make sure that you're not going to get picked if you go for the cap. It just took a little too much time to commit and go for that clear. And at the end of the day, he only leaves himself with really like 7 seconds to pull tablet out, punch in code. It just wasn't enough. The time ticks down and the round goes into the hands of Kai. They win that defensive round. And now Mayhem have to hold as well.
Like you're saying, we have the bird's eye view. We can see what's going on. It's easy for us to say stuff like that. Yep. And when you're playing against a team of Kai's caliber, whenever it feels like it's wide open, it's usually a trap. Yeah. So that's the right instinct, is like, all right, I'm going to check all these angles and make sure they aren't just letting me get here so they can shoot me when I get right on objective. Mm-hmm. He had no way of knowing that they were all looking away. And again, the kill count was off. So, like, yeah, there's just a lot of factors working against him. And he was doing the right thing. It was just a little, like a couple of steps behind where he needed to be time-wise.
Yeah. Oh, you hate to see it. You hate to see it, but seems like the meme will persist. Yet another day. Mono denied a cap due to the time, and we go down into the comms of Mayhem as they defend after just barely losing that one.
Alright, guys.
Unlucky last round. We should have that gap. Take a peek at me. Make sure you're. I'll try to figure. I'm pretty sure I know what you're doing, but okay.
Guys, they're on 2 points, so no matter what, no cap, okay?
You can hear the call-outs there, James, just trying to regroup the team. You know, just trying to get them focused. Tough one to lose when you're that close. Those sting sometimes the most, you know? And just trying to get the team back and focused as Wookiee does push out for an aggressive defensive setup.
You can see a nice little train of Kai players going through the center area. I'm assuming what they're planning on doing is staging for a lake attack. It's usually what people are doing when they come over here. They get near the bunker and then they start going onto the lake from there and then creep up onto what is Sky Joker's current position.
Or do exactly what Theta did. I think this was a similar route that they took in the initial rollout. They took control of this bunker, and then from there had one cover the hill and the other one swing out. And it is a very similar setup on Mayhem on the defensive side of things. You put one over on that hill and one where Sky is. And
I don't think I'm shooting at a person.
I'm curious on these shots getting let loose, if that's gonna give away the plan or if it's part of it. Maybe they want to be known over in this position.
And Wookiee catches Semper in the south.
-1 on the south approach.
And that is their only southern attacker, so that entire approach is now shut down.
Yeah, and they have information on the south here, so, or the north, excuse me, so this is, so far, a nice Mayhem defensive round. They've gotten great information and they've shut down a key element. Base is shifting back. So maybe they will become the stealth element in this push, because you do want to split the attention. You want to divide this defense. You don't want to allow them to really essentially rotate and stack any one side against your push. And as long as base contends over here with Wookiee and James, they'll force at least a few defenders to stay in position and not collapse around this lake push. The problem is he's going to push out, and as he does, Cappy dips down for a brief second, and base is able to make the cross.
Yeah, Cappy's giving the call out, though. He knows he's there. It's just a matter of positioning themselves so they don't get picked. And he's trying to get that pick on a mono that happened last time. I believe it was James that got the kill for the defender on that side of the lake. But mono escapes the shots and continues to watch the lake approach.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about long range on this objective. This is, I mean, one of the reasons why. There's just so many different little hills and sides of hills that you can push up, and different gaps down these lanes that you can cover that are super long. I mean, base shooting a good distance across the map here to try and catch that kill, and it's an important element to have here. If base can suppress from that side, it will allow Dazzler to continue his push up on this lake, essentially uncontested.
Yeah, and like you were saying, so mono gets suppressed from that opposite side. He stops watching the lake. Now they're coming up on Joker's position.
Got it, by OBJ. Yep, okay.
Etch just gave a call out. I don't know if Joker's close enough to have heard that, but he's now peeking out. Maybe he did. Ooh, engages laser, just missing Sky Joker's head. Ooh. Man, people just keep missing each other by inches in this position. Oh, Dazzler's coming up on him now. Joker should have heard him.
Almost misses the shots. Etch comes in, reinforces, finds the frag kill, can get the res onto Dazzler. James and Cappy have to crash back. Base catches the kill onto one. Mono's still alive. I thought that was onto Mono back there, but it wasn't. Mono swings out. A team kill comes in, and Mono finds two. Kai are cut down to two, just like that.
That was
no, that was a
unfortunate
res. Sorry, not a team kill.
Oh, yeah, you're right. And Etch gets caught on that approach, and now Base Lappa trying to run in, but he does not have a chance. And now it's tied up 2-2.
That was a great defensive round. Executed very nicely. They rotated well to catch out the push, and as soon as they shut down that south attempt from Garage, it was essentially a done deal. They knew where everyone was and just did a good job of holding. Where do we go for our next objective? It is what I like to call the kill box. Box of death. Whatever you may deem it, but a much different style of objective, Theta.
Indeed. So we've gone from two objectives. Like the first one, like you said, arguably a close quarters, but there's some long-range elements, especially in the south with those big lanes. But this is certifiably close quarters. And this one's tough, too, because if you decide to just bunker up in that building and not put anybody in the outside, what ends up happening is people just crash in all at once, and it's just chaos. So you have to kind of make that choice of like, all right, are we going to risk somebody outside and potentially throw off the timing of everybody that's attacking us, or are we just going to say, you know what, we're going to ride that chaotic wave and we think we're going to come out on top and let them come in?
Yeah, it's a preference thing, you know. Some teams do a little bit of both. Some teams will invest one outside as just a rogue element. They'll put them in kind of wacky positions sometimes in the tunnel or out far north, different spaces to try and just catch one or two out, and then oftentimes just trade. And that's a successful push out. They're essentially used as a piece of utility to find a few kills, and knowing that they may not come back to the boys at home. So we'll see what Kai do on defense. We're hopping into the round, switching up sides again, and Kai now taking their turn at some close quarters combat. We'll see how Mayhem do with, I don't know, as you say, a pretty standard spawn. Nothing too quick from there.
No, and just Mayhem's playstyle anyway. They're not going to rush in regardless of the spawn. They like to set things up and take their time. So this is the closest spawn you can get, and you can see they're just more or less scanning the outside, seeing if anybody is pushing out on them, and they're about to run into Base Slappa, who is out in the open. James should spot him in just a moment, and there it is.
-1, going to the tower.
And so a risky attempt from Kai there to do exactly what I was talking about. Doesn't pay off, though, and essentially they've just thrown one defender away. They also have a Semper invested very, not terribly far from objective, but a decent bit away, ways away. And again, if this Mayhem squad just pushes up off of that advantage, there is opportunity. To your point, they'll take their time. So I think the strategy for now will work for Kai. It's just going to be a matter of Mayhem setting up, and then we'll see how they execute their entry.
And if you look, you can see Dazzler looking through this tiny little crack on that north door. It can be a bit risky. A lot of teams are now starting to pre-fire that door for the reason that that crack exists. Although Capitano now rushing into the north. He's about to be on Semper. He doesn't see him. Oh, but there it is. I'm assuming Semper just didn't hear him coming behind him because they were just a couple feet away from each other.
Yeah, Semper was holding a completely different angle. Semper, you can see the tablet where it was placed, where he must have been looking. He was positioned to look down where Cappy is now. He was not expecting the flank, and maybe he wasn't radioed in that they had lost their push out there onto that north side, because he just seemed completely caught out. That's an easy kill there for Cappy. Mayhem have 5. They fully cleared out this side of the defense, and it's just going to come down to, again, how they make their entry with these 3 now left alive for Kai.
I will say this is exactly the kind of objective that Mayhem loves to attack and is good at attacking, because they're much more deliberate and they set up multiple angles whenever they attack, and this is just designed for those kinds of attacks. You have all these doorways. You've got, let's see, 5 different doorways. 2, 3,
4.
yeah, like four different doorways. And that means if you got everybody up, you can send, one person plus an extra on another door through all of those.
Right.
Throw some smoke in, throw some flash, throw some frags, really confuse them, and then just storm in.
One in the north.
Your point, a risky position to be holding still. Smokes are out, so they're not going to see any entry there. I wonder if Mono's just going to commit to pushing through that smoke. Dazzler might miss that. And if he can get inside, that's going to be big. Oh no, Sky team kills Cappy, a huge gift given to this Kai defense.
That is unfortunate. Mayhem still has a numerical advantage.
One in
But
the southwest
obviously, you want to have as
inside.
many up as you can prior to the attack. When James
Southwest
catches
corner
Etch in
cleared.
that little
Ready to breach.
hallway on the, the south side.
Good flash comes up and over. That catches out, engaged. Dazzler swings out on that rotation. Sky's there to find the frag. Engaged now left alone in a 1v3. Gets picked up by Mono on the entry, and Mayhem snag another Marsoc round with a great coordinated entry through all doors.
Yep, that is just textbook Mayhem attack at that point. And now they have to play defense. I will say the more conservative defensive approach that they tend to favor doesn't work out as well on this objective, but we'll see. Kai's certainly not out of this fight. They can win this and tie it up and then take it to a deciding round.
We've seen him do it before. So yeah, I'm not counting him out yet. And especially on a close quarters OBJ, Kai is strong. They're good close quarters shooters. And so, yeah, and I expect this one to be a challenge for Mayhem to defend. And it's going to come down to if they can get I don't know, let's say lucky, but if they can get the early pick with maybe investing in some sort of off-meta strat. I don't know how off-meta you can really go, but if you make the right predictions on a spawn, you can certainly catch out a kill or two.
Sure.
So I guess a bit of luck needs to be sprinkled into that equation as well, but...
Yeah, there's always a little bit of a dice roll on these maps when you have random spawns. You can make an educated guess, but it's always going to be just percentages since you don't know exactly where people are coming from until you start hearing shots.
Round number 6 kicking off here. Get an
If we need to,
inside
we'll
spawn
circle
for
in
Kai.
from
Let's
north
hear their
and get into
calls.
tunnel, but we'll do that there.
You know, I'm gonna go through horseshoe.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's a good call. Clear the horseshoe. Makes our lives a little easier.
I mean, one
Hey, somebody go
common
lake.
theme.
Going lake, just in case they swing out.
How locked in these teams are right now at the start of these rounds, you know, discussing strat, making sure everybody knows right where they need to be, no confusion about positioning, and staying in sync. That's what it is all about at this level. You just got to play as a squad together as one, and it'll get you round wins. So see what Kai can bring to the table. You know, decent rollout right now. Everyone's sticking together pretty much. Etch, the only one out on a wide swing to cover if anyone has pushed out to the lake, but that won't be the case, as Mayhem opting for a bit of a different defensive style here, Theta.
Indeed, they put Sky Joker in this, what I like to call the wing position, and he's just there to wait. Once Cappy, or really anybody on the outside of the kill box, hears somebody coming, he is there to just pop out and catch them unawares. But, yeah, other than that, seems like they're playing a pretty contained defense. And Kai is doing their best to just clear the exterior areas as they go. Plenty of time still, 4.5-ish minutes. So they can take their time, make sure that the outside's clear, and then attack from multiple angles like Mayhem did.
Yeah, it's again sort of what kind of strat do you want to go with? Do you have confidence in your internal defense on this objective that they can succeed under pressure, under the possibility of flashes, nades, smokes? There's so much that works well in these close quarters spaces. It's sometimes dangerous to pack it too full, and you know, if Kai can set up right, there's definitely opportunity to properly overwhelm with a nice entry, just like Mayhem did. But this will be a little bit more chaotic, Theta. This is going to be an indoor, maybe one outdoor battle. The Sky is out there, like you said, but a pretty crazy bit of entry once they get into position.
And Dazzler now approaching from the north side. He takes some shots. No doubt Joker heard that. He has a clacker. Trying to see where he placed any C4.
I mean, good luck. It blends in so well to the mountain.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything right now, but I'm assuming he's got some C4 somewhere near that north entrance. Although Kai is opting to... Yeah, they were clearing the north side of the tunnel first, and now it looks like they're rotating back as I say that.
The versatility of that position, though, to the point of it, is that he can also commit to swinging out here on engagement base if they get noisy on this doorway and are identified. So really a solid position to have, and I wonder why more teams don't take it. Maybe because it can be naded?
Yeah, a lot of teams are starting to nade that early, so it's a big gamble to take. It just depends on if they decide that they want to start throwing utility on you or not.
Hmm. Minutes left on the clock. The timer is ticking. Little safety nade tossed out there by James, just in case.
Yep.
But it seems like everyone is essentially ready to go. Basin engage on this doorway, Dazzler and Etch on the other, and Semper will be coming in through the tunnel. Flash goes in, Etch team kills Dazzler. Sky is here, Etch gets that. C4 gets detonated there, a nade comes out to confirm. 3v4 at the end of the day when the dust settles. Still don't even know where that C4 was.
Yeah, I don't either. I heard the explosion, but I didn't see it. Yeah, they placed some smokes, but they did not place them on the entrance itself.
Ooh. And that's the risk. James has vision in there. Flashes come out, but they're not exactly on point. Base is able to dive in through it and is inside. So he's a threat that they have to be concerned about, but I don't know if they know about. James certainly does. Quick snap onto him. Now Etch, the lone attacker for Kai in a 1v4. This map looking like it's going to go into the hands of Mayhem unless Etch can put up a miracle round here. There's one.
Yeah, Etch has clutched some pretty substantial numerical disadvantages before. He's
40
only
seconds?
got 40 seconds, though. I don't think he has time to execute this kind of flank.
Yeah,
And
can't be very aware.
Wookie put a Molotov down on that opposite outside door, too, so he had no choice. He had to go through that door from the outside. And now he's deciding he's going to go in through one of these hallway doors. And Cappy and Wookie both in a position to catch him if he does that. Mono sort of the floater in the middle of the room. And here he comes. 15 seconds left. He has to push right now. And there it is.
Tall order for Etch, couldn't quite string it together, and Mayhem put up a solid defensive and offensive rounds for map number 1. 11 and 4 from James. We gotta highlight that, a standout shooter there. Where do we go from here is the question, Theta. For map number 2, it's Kai's map pick, and they've just lost. Not too bad, but certainly on the back foot here. They need to pick a map that they're strong in.
My bet is Suburbia. They pick Suburbia all the time. Mayhem does not particularly like Suburbia. They don't play it very often. So I think it's become almost a meme in some sense because every time at least I cast Kai, they pick Suburbia, but that's what I would go with here.
All right.
And there it is.
Well, right on cue. Suburbia for map 2. Good info coming in from Theta, to say the least. But, yeah, I mean, it's interesting that they do go to close quarters. Not to say that they don't excel there, but, I mean, they didn't exactly dominate that kill box there on Snow Peak. So, you know, Suburbia, a very different type of close quarters, you know, different than Cargo even, in the sense that there's just tons of penetrable cover, if you will, that can be shot through, and you can get pre-fire kills, and it's just a different beast, so to speak. And we are kicking it off on one of the 2 new objectives. I'll leave it up to mystery to what that is before we dive in, but both new objectives, Theta, just really change how you play this map.
No doubt about it, especially the way that spawns are structured, because you can shoot straight through the map.
Yeah.
You know, on both sides. So what a lot of teams will do is they just line up and start shooting through the map with their M249s or PKMs. And it's imperative that you don't get caught on that early. We've seen a couple of rounds in matches previously where with these new spawns, you can see either a team wipe or a near team wipe within the first 30 seconds. So I think teams have caught on to the fact that you need to be very, very careful on these new objectives.
Yeah, they certainly have, and if they haven't, if they've watched the afternoon series, they will be, because that is exactly what happened on this objective with beginners. When they went on offense, they had a shot straight through right out of spawn, and got an instant kill. It kind of reminded me of the downfall spawn that you can identify right out of the gate, unless you go prone. And yeah, you can literally kill almost, essentially out of spawn here, and a threat that they got to be aware of. Looking at the rosters, see if we have any subs, and I don't think either team bringing anyone new in. But yeah, a solid kickoff to the series, Theta. I mean, Snow Peak. I was thinking maybe we were headed 3-3 there for a while. The back and forth, great. Mayhem aren't to say bad on Suburbia, you know, just because Kai have picked this and they're confident on it doesn't mean that Mayhem can't compete well here on a map like this. And so, still not going to be an easy layup or anything for this Kai squad, but you know, again, the narrative here, if they can win this series, if they can win 2 games in a row on a weekend against teams right next to them in rank, in the case of Silent Purge, 8 ranks ahead of them, I mean, there is so much here for them to gain. And like you said, they're going to be a contender for the top 7. They're going to be a contender to move on to the tournament if they keep playing well. It's just, can they keep playing well? Can they get some rounds here, put up a lead, start this off as we dive into the start of map number 2.
When Wookie just tossed a C4 somewhere on lane 1. I lost track of it. I saw him throw it. Well, it's around here somewhere. I'll point it out if I see it. But anyway, some kind of C4 out on lane 1 at the moment. And Semper and Dazzler are both kind of peeking that in. Joker right around the corner from base slap. Oh, he must have heard him. Oh, here it is. And they are about to be right on top of each other. Oh, and Base Slappa just decides to move the smoke grenade and hightail out of there. I don't... Maybe it's just on my side. Base Slappa had a pistol in his hand. I think he dropped his gun.
Well,
2 behind middle house.
Something weird happened. Sky scooping up a double there in the center. I saw a similar artifact. I just thought it was maybe a visual bug, and he was holding his rifle because he had his arms up like he was, so... Not sure what happened there, but
right there.
Either way, a rough bit of, I don't even know what, but their push gets shut down there from Sky, and now it's just Semper and Dyslexic Dazzler. And as I say that, James, with a textbook James nade, catches one on the corner.
And Cappy and Sky right next to that. They should have heard that. They likely know they have them trapped in this little area. Right around the hedge. Oh, Capitano and Semper trade. Ooh, and Dazzler with a nice corner peek onto Joker. Now 3v1.
Problem is you got to be worried about Mono, who is setting out for a flank. That's a nice angle there between the sandbags and the Hesco. Down goes Mayhem with a solid defensive round on this new OBJ. Take up another lead, but I don't know. We've seen the back and forth here from this Kai team, and I mean, geez, Mayhem are just playing. I don't even know what to think about the top 15 and worldwide in the ranks anymore, because I mean, Mayhem was on a big downswing for a while there. And the last few weeks of the season, they were having a tough time in their matchups, and since then they've shifted up their play style, maybe their focus, and they're looking much more Mayhemian, if you will. A team that started off the season at the top of the ladder. And if they keep playing like this, I think they can potentially take this series with 2 maps right away. But again, Kai fought back well on Snow Peak. They just let it get away from him a little bit there on that close quarters objective. And if they can fight back here, good. But they cannot afford to let what happened happen on Snow Peak. They got to win this map to take it to a best of 3.
Indeed. There was a stretch this season, Mayhem was #1 worldwide, and they even had a win over the current #1 worldwide team, Beginners. It's just, I think it goes to show how hard it is to maintain a position in this game, because when you're on top like that, everybody's watching your footage and coming up with strats to deal with you. And I think in some weird way, having a losing streak like that almost helped them, because then people are not taking them quite as seriously, and then the real kind of skill level that they possess started showing up again. I don't think people were quite as ready for it.
Yeah, Kai is a team that can certainly beat a team at the top. They proved that against Silent Purge. They played fantastically then. They just got to tap in to that momentum they had just the other day and bring it here against Mayhem. Mayhem goes on the attack as we shift into round 2, and we'll see if they can get any early peaks and kick things off to how they like it. Bases right up here early.
Middle house found.
Finds one. Looking there on the corner. Finds two. There's the kill from Sky. But that is a worthwhile investment. 1 for 2 trade and shuts down any aggression that could come up through the center.
And that completely changes the timing and momentum of this offensive round for Mayhem. Yeah, Mono calling out that they just lost their fragger man in James, so somebody should go retrieve that utility. And Semper downs Capitano. That's a tough spot to get down. Like, unless you have some good smoke cover, it is hard to get a revive out in the middle of the street like that.
The bushes. I don't know if I got him.
Mono just sprayed to catch one. But yeah, Cappy was trying to cross without a smoke. He didn't want to be detected. He was going for a stealth cross across the street, but couldn't quite get there. Mono is able to push out from this smoke. Gets the res. The shots come in. The support fire to push Semper down. Lets Cappy get safe.
Covered.
Where is he?
I'm across. I don't know. I probably.
Ooh, and Joker has been ID'd on this Hesco. And wisely put some smoke down so he can back off and change angles. And this is a pretty dangerous situation for Kai, because they now have 2 attacking players on the opposite side of the street ready for a flank. Although Semper is checking occasionally behind him.
He's just not in a great spot to effectively defend that, and now he is. That's a great rotation. This Hesco Crake's going to serve him much better. Problem is, I think Dazzler then... No, as long as Dazzler stays behind the shrubs, he'll have some cover, and so this setup is what they need to do. I don't know if Semper's going to be peeking out around the corner or not, but they got to be aware of the north. He saw them cross.
On this map, having 3.5 minutes or so, that's all the time in the world, so they're just taking their time and clearing out the objective. It's now 3v2. And Kai's, this round's slipping away from them a bit after those 2 initial kills from base slap, but they need to recompose and then get their angles under control so they can stop this cap attempt.
Engage is on an interesting rotation. Catches out Cappy, catches out Mono, and a huge double from Engage to shut down the North duo. Now it's all up to Sky in a 1v2.
Yeah, both of them.
2 minutes and 40 seconds. And the one advantage in a situation like this is now if he hears anybody, he knows it's an enemy. So he doesn't have to worry about a potential team kill. He doesn't have to coordinate anything. He just knows that he hears the sound, he shoots.
Well, that's a bright way of looking at being the last person alive on your team. Yeah, hey, you're certainly right. He can react however he so chooses. He doesn't have to worry about holding that trigger finger. I wonder if he'll be prepped for Engage to be here on this corner. I think he heard the comms, so he should have some information at least.
Ooh, he just made a sound.
He's made a few, but Engage hasn't been keyed into it. He's not looking. The gun's turned.
Whoa.
There's the snap. And Kai hang on to their defensive round. A huge play from Engage to pull him back in it, and then the final kill. 3 for him there in total on the round. Oof. This is, well, yeah, I think we're going to get a couple of trades like this, but at any given point, it could turn one way or another, just like Snow Peak did. And I'm certainly not sure. I'm frankly not sure which way it's going to turn just yet. I want to see what Kai throw out on the offense. They had a really tough go there on their last attack, and now as we shift our attention to the other side of the map, with this tank, there is another opportunity to cap.
As we were discussing on the last cast with Kai playing on Suburbia, this one, you need to cover both sides of the tank, so if one side of the defense gets compromised and there aren't rotations, this is a quite cappable objective.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing for, Kai to be afraid of when they go on the defense, is that it's also a lot of the common defensive positions are highly fraggable. And with a team like Mayhem, who excels in positioning frags right where they need to, you kind of have to shift up where you go to plan for nades coming at you.
Exactly. Whenever you're facing off against a team with a strong frag grenade person or people, you can't stay static for very long, and you have to be willing to change up your positions a bit, because they're going to watch your footage and then say, okay, we're dropping frags right here and right there. And if you're in one of those spots, you're getting blown up.
Up over to the Kai side, see how they're planning as we dive into round 3.
Free fiery team. I'm gonna run to the right.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I
don't
get
go
shot
3.
in the back.
And I just love to hear the comms at the start, because they're always discussing strat, and sometimes teams are a little bit looser, and that can pay off for others. Sometimes they're locked in and focused, and both of these squads locked in and focused, and James picking off their defensive round nicely. Look at how Mayhem have decided to set up their defense for this, really committing to defending this middle house.
On this objective, the middle house is just so powerful, but they've got a little bit of a weakness in the sense that James is the only one south, although they do have a lot of guns that way. I don't know. I haven't seen a defense like this on this objective, so I'm actually interested in seeing how this turns out.
He wants to where I am?
I'll tell you, it's the right defense if they were playing themselves. This is exactly how you set up. Nearly everybody has a roof over their head to prevent the nades from coming in. James and Cappy the only one exposed, and Temper able to kick things off nicely with an early pick into those back shrubs. Hey, and to your point, you can push up to APC. A couple of good smokes. They a lot of good smokes to make that cross, but this east side, I think, is their best bet to push up and try and go for a cap, really.
They do have a lot of guns, but as you're saying, if they get there, which you could do if you just had a boatload of smoke cover, if they can just find a way to get around, then it would be hard for them to stop from the center house. Not impossible, but challenging.
He's dead.
Yeah, and I don't know if you heard there, but they're letting them get over onto that side. They're fully aware of the threat that could be prevalent there, and don't seem to be too worried about it. I'm sure they have utility available. We haven't seen any really come out from them yet, so nades, flashes, all things that I would expect Mayhem to toss if they started to be mounted towards this direction, but no smokes coming in from Kai to indicate that just yet, and maybe it's all a timing thing. Take a look at the overhead. They have 2 in the east, 1 in the west. Maybe a disconnect occurred at some point, or my map is bugged. I don't see the 4th.
Yeah, I see Etch's score has been reset, so I'm assuming he disconnected.
So the kill feed there, not quite accurate. Mayhem technically into an advantage, a 3v4. Temper's going to work his way up to APC. Shouldn't be detected unless Mono really looks for that peek out the window. But I think Mono's more watching the APC not necessarily the walk up to it.
Base Slappa right across the hedges from Capitano. Just peeked over. I think he heard something. He doesn't realize where he's coming from. The other interesting wrinkle about this defense is that they can all just talk to each other. They don't have to use the radio at all. Semper gets picked by Mono from the top story. Cappy has to know there's somebody next to him now since Base threw a couple of smokes right on his position. It is.
Nice one.
And now it's all up to engage on lane 4 now. It looks like he's been ID'd.
That's one. Sky's there on that bottom floor as well, but has the cover. And those are good smokes. That's exactly where you need to place him. If he gets across, this is bad news. He can punch in the code.
Yep. It's the cap. Oh! Oh! Wookie had C4 of the other side of the tank. Wow, I'm amazed I didn't see that, but what a play.
That's the strategy. That's why they were giving it up. They almost wanted the enemy team to push into the backside. So one thing that, you know, I think that they weren't ready for, obviously, was that C4, but you know, you always wonder, if you're like me, you always wonder why not just put a C4 on the objective to guarantee its safety. And the reason being is that if a C4 is too close to the OBJ, within a sphere of protection, it will be shut down. That C4, I think, was tossed high and up onto this pole. And so I think it pulled it out of the range of the diffusal of a C4 near an objective, and was still a useful piece there to shut down that entry. And you know, that's what you, when we're nearing this, we're getting closer to the end. I'm surprised really that they would show that, I suppose, show their hand, if you will, because that's a strat you can almost save for the finals, or, you know, at least later on into the postseason.
Indeed, because I mean, the strategic brilliance of that was on display, but if teams are expecting that and they spot that C4 as they're going in, that's 2 points. So you really don't want people to have that part figured out. Or they don't even have to shoot it. They can just start throwing frags onto it right away, and now you've got to adjust. So that's one of those strats, like you said. Maybe even keep it in your back pocket for the playoffs or something, because now people are going to be ready for that.
To that point, though, I mean, now is what time? When are you gonna? If you're gonna do it, now is the time, right? Mayhem's on the climb back up into the top 7. They need these wins. Yep. It makes sense to be breaking out, you know, unique strats that are going to surprise your opponent, because if they beat Kai here, it's a huge win for them. I mean, Kai has surged in the rank above them now, and so if they can lock in a dub with 2 maps, early, it puts the map 3, puts them at ease there, puts them into a comfort space. They can really do what they want there. Maybe practice new strats there as well. I mean, it's both of these teams need this win quite a lot right now. It's huge for momentum for them. And with where they are in the ladder, they're not going to get a lot of opportunities like the one presented here today. And so, yeah, we'll see what Kai do to bounce back from a solid defensive round there, as we do switch up sides and go back at the same objective for round number 4. We'll take a quick look at the KDs before the round kicks off. 4-1 for Mono there. Etch on a reset/disconnect, so he's doesn't have a score line. Engage 4-3. No real standout shooters, and just an indicator that we've had a good bit of back and forth here today.
No doubt about it. That's the kind of kill spread you want to see, because it means that no one person is carrying the load.
Semper lane 3, base
1. I'm 2. Daz middle
Anybody?
house.
Anybody bringing everyone
No.
down, G?
No.
I'm pretty sure you can.
That's just recollecting where they'll be heading there and reinforcing their positions to make sure they know again where everybody is in their minds, so they don't have to necessarily communicate over their comms. They can click. You know, people sometimes have numbers for their position, so if you click 3 times, it means someone's on your position. And Semper committing to an aggressive rollout again. We saw this from him last round as well on defense, and it got him 2 kills. This time he doesn't find much.
Dazzler with a quick kill in the middle of the map. Looks like he just peeked out from that bottom story through the doorway. And now that stopped the offense in its tracks. Mono, I heard him say he had no idea where that kill came from. Now they have to regroup themselves and figure out a different angle.
Yeah, and I don't think Semper took shots, so they're not really thrown off, but that's not like an out of the box position to be holding. Through the window, through the door, to catch out anyone that pushes up through the center. It's pretty standard inside the house, but I think because Dazzler then rotated off, Mono couldn't find where those shots were coming from, and so Kai goes undetected. Base trades with 1. They could invest in a res there. Etch has coverage, and Base is safe and sound behind the corner. James is coming quick, though.
So this would be an ideal time for a Boke nade to come over the top, but the question is, does he want to use his utility on this or not?
I hear him talking in the middle house.
And I mean, just that 1 kill out the gate has just thrown off this Mayhem team so much. They lost another on the back end, and now it's just these 3 left alive. And they're having a tough time refocusing here. Sky nearly team kills James. Now both of them are aiming at each other, and that's never what you want. An indicator of maybe
Almost fucking shot me, dude.
miscommunication. James maybe a little bit extra upset because he did miss his nade toss into the window. You could hear a groan from him there.
There's a trade this lane with the position I talked about before round.
When I believe he thinks he got that confirm. He called out the trade, but Base still alive.
There's 1 middle house top floor.
Again, Dazzler with another kill in that center bottom floor. Doing work, peeking out those windows. Base able to communicate everything here, so Ed should have an idea of where James is. James finally confirms it. The peek out there results in a trade, a full kill for a full kill. Now it's all down to Wookiee as he advances up to the playground.
I don't think he's going to be ready for Semper's position. There it is. Semper pops up, gets him on the slide. Now all tied up, 2-2. And like you're saying, looking at the KDRs for both teams, very even spread for the most part.
Yeah, it really is. That's what you get in this back and forth at this level. You know, it's... You love to see the back and forth between these two teams, and they're not going to give up, Theta. I mean, we keep talking about how the whole system works with the ladder and everything, and the prize pool of 14,000 just being announced. It's the pressure is on, you know, and something we really haven't touched on a lot is what these teams are really feeling right now. They got to be feeling that pressure that you get when anytime you go into a high intensity ranked matchup, but the added knowledge being that they are potentially competing for a chance to avoid that Challenger Cup. And it's a thing that we do talk about as a real test of a team But going through the Challenger Cup is a ton of games and then a best-of-5 series. It's a slog for a lot of people, and it's a test of stamina in a lot of ways. But if you to win that is, you know, like I said, a true test. And so teams want to try and get up into the top 7 to avoid having to go through that, so that they can get just their guaranteed advancement onto that round-robin tournament stage where that prize pool gets put up on the line. So super hyped to see, again, the postseason. We're getting closer and closer, and so we'll be talking about it more and more. Again, the announcement for that prize pool just went out earlier this week as well, so something that I like to be touching on nearly every cast because it's got me hyped up, and I'm sure it's got these teams feeling a little bit hyped as we hop back into the action. Round number 5 of map 2.
It's like Wookiee packing a shotgun, and if I were to guess, he's going to take that pistol with a flashlight and put it on the top of the stairwell. It's a tactic you've been seeing a lot this season. Yeah, here it is. So anybody that comes on top of that stairwell, or tries to get to the top of that stairwell, will be blind. And it's tough to cope with because you can't throw a frag on there or anything and move the pistol. You have to physically grab the pistol to move it.
That nade came up and over. I think the attempt was to get it to detonate at the window. I think that would have potentially caught Wookiee in mono if it had gone at just the way Semper was going for it. But, you know, we see great tosses from both of these teams, and those tosses are so hard to make. It is so hard to do a precision throw like that. To throw it into a window like James was trying to do is not easy at all. That flash was trying to go into the window, but it ends up bouncing off. Maybe it wasn't actually, as Dazzler pushes it onto Cappy on the corner. A really nice bounce there to get that flash. But that nade goes a bit too far. Dazzler lives another day. James almost gets tagged up by a great hold from base over the top. And this is good play from Kai to get those kills and pull off of it.
Upstairs in the back room of objective house. One in either lane, door lane
They're drawing all kinds of attention to the wings here. Etch shooting his M249 on lane 4. Base Slap is about to be pushing out on the lane 1 as well. But the bulk of the offensive attack is coming from the center. They're just surrounding the house. I suspect we'll start seeing some utility shortly.
Right there.
And start putting some smokes, flashes, frags, whatever into those top story windows.
You can hear a little chatter there from Kai, just trying to maybe distract them by talking a little bit.
I'm a little surprised Joker isn't taking any shots right now. Engage on that front lawn, or front porch, I should say. Oh, and there comes some shots. Engage gets the refrag, though.
Oh, and the double. Wookiee goes down on stairs. Kai has 3 left alive. James, the lone survivor, finally finds Engage through the window. A nice refrag of that angle. Etch swinging around wide. 3 minutes left. They just have to coordinate their entry together here, and it's going to be tough for James to hold.
They still have boatloads of time right now, too.
Yep.
2 minutes, 45 seconds. They just have to work the angles and coordinate, because if 2 come up that stairwell and they coordinate it well, James not going to have much of a chance. But if they line up 1 by 1, that's where they're going to run into problems.
Yep. Yeah, they have to hit him from that angle that James is watching now. They have to hit him from there and come up the stairs. That's the duo they need. Any other option, James has pretty decent coverage of, without having to worry much about, so just a matter of the setup. What did Kai go with? Oh, and they find it. Etch catches James from the long range angle through the window. Kai take the Marsoc round and the lead on this map. A must-win for them. They've bounced back from a bit of a tough start and are now looking at map points to push this on to a Series 3, map 3 decider, excuse me.
Yeah, this is a huge defense. And they've been playing some pretty spicy, loose defense. I wonder, just because they have the lead now, that they will say, we're going to take a little bit less risk on this defense and let them come to us, or if they'll just say, you know what, this has been working, we're going to keep sending people out and take the risk of losing people and getting enveloped. And if I'm in Kai's shoes, I'm concerned about grenades coming through the windows as well. So,
yeah. Yep.
now people stacking inside the house might be a bit dangerous for them.
You can do it different ways, though. You know, you can, like they had Sky there. I didn't even see him. I think he just stayed tucked in on the second floor the whole time until the push was coming in. Then he pops up and gets the kill. That was a fantastic bit of late play from him that really saved that round. That was going bad fast for Mayhem. That could have been a potential cap, especially if Sky doesn't get picked there and stays on the other side of the objective, other side of the street. There's real room for danger there, and I guess Mayhem got lucky with not having that cap come through. They get another round to compete, and yeah, I mean, this objective's crazy. You can play this so fast if you want. I doubt Mayhem will commit to anything overly aggressive, but hey, if you're going to try something quick and fast that you've been practicing and is maybe a bit innovative, now is the time to do it. They have the freedom, so to speak, because if they lose, the series isn't over just yet. So we'll see how Mayhem decide to push out. I don't think it's going to be anything too fast, as we do sort of see the prep come in here. And a wide rotation from 2 and 3 up the center.
And they are sending some flankers. Base Slappa already in lane, basically between lane 1 and lane 2. Oh, and Semper with a nice grenade right onto Wookiee, but that revive is coming.
Lovely
James
toss
just
there.
misses. Yeah, he just misses Semper on the return nade.
Well, Semper's in a off-meta position. You don't expect him to be on that side of the sandbags. You expect him to be where the nade went, on the other side. So that's how you have to play against this Mayhem team. You have to put yourself into spaces that are going to be effective, but not be where they're expecting you to be. I mean, look at Base. This position is certainly unique. He's very pushed up here, and I'm sure he hears James rotating around him.
No doubt about that.
Oh,
Cappy spots him before he can take advantage. Yeah, I don't think James was going to be ready for that, so Cappy just saved his life.
surprised that's just in carport. Super risky spot to be. You can get scooped up from the slide if anyone pushes up. But he was holding Cappy's position for a second and then dips back off of it, so Cappy's going to be safe and sound. And every time Cappy shoots, he dips back, Etch then peeks, and then Etch dips back. But Etch is safe here, and Cappy not ready for that rotation. Etch able to get the refrag. Kai into a 4v4 now. We'll see what Wookiee and Mono can do over on this side. Not a lot as Engage finds one.
One down lane 4.
Doing a little bit of couch surfing.
James preps a nade. He's going to send that through the top story. And there it is. Oh, and just misses.
Emperor catches Sky, and James has got to be confused. Because he's, again, thinking Semper is on the other side of the sandbags, not prone here. James could very well go down if he decides to try and peek that lane. This is it. I mean, Kai map point here, pushing us on to a map 3 decider, answering back in kind for losing map 1 4-2. They are trying to do the same here. They just have to get 2 more kills, and you can hear in their comms that sense of urgency. Just hold it, just hold it. No need to overcommit to anything. They have the angles. They're set up where they need to be. Just got to find 2 more. James going to push out here. Still doesn't commit to swinging around the edge just yet. Semper's there to fight the ankles. Down goes James, and Wookiee left alive all on his lonesome in a 1v4 with 2:30 left on the clock.
This is going to be an uphill battle, to say the least. I think we've all seen crazier things happen, but probability here is aligned with Kai. I think we are most likely going to a match decider on map 3. And Semper, like you were saying, in just quite a bizarre position. People do not play that.
Nope.
And it caught James off guard. You can catch a veteran of a game like James off guard. You've got a good spot in most cases.
Yeah, and again, you know, people are going to be aware of this now if Kai plays this map, but it's worth it. It's getting them a huge win that they need. They cannot lose this series. They need, I mean, they can, but it means so much more for them to win this, to have back-to-back dubs against teams so high in rank. It would be just a massive weekend for them, and well, they're a kill away. Wookiee goes down to the shots from Semper. They're taking this to a map 3 decider.
So then the question is, where does Mayhem want to go on a match decider? They don't have Subway in their back pocket. I would guess maybe Downfall? I don't think they would go Quarantine. Quarantine's a little bit too much of a mixed bag. That's true. They don't have a sniper.
And they didn't do that great on those ranged objectives.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to want to go to Cargo, because that's CQB. Kai showing that they clearly have some competence on that. So my money would be either Quarantine or Downfall. No, Cargo. Okay,
Oh,
I was wrong.
My, me, oh my. You know, again, Season 11 is crazy, because even though there's maps that teams know, you know, there's maps, positions that people know, just by adding in a few new objectives, it changes up so much. People are then suddenly open to new ideas and new positions and new ways to attack and defend. And Cargo is certainly one of those maps that has been shifted a good bit with a new objective, and in addition, just a lot of variety of play. I've seen new strats come out here on Cargo, like I said, just today from beginners. You know, as we get into these final weeks, teams are busting out plays that they may have practiced only in scrims.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the stats here. I'm a little surprised that Mayhem's doing this. They have played it 3 times this season, and they have won it exactly 0 times. And they have a 25% round win rate. So, not 100% sure what the thinking is, but maybe they've got some kind of curveball in their back pocket that they just haven't unveiled yet.
Right. I'm looking at the at the roster too, just to make sure we're not changing lobby and this was a misclick. But no, I'm looking at not seeing any subs either. Everyone bringing in the same 5. And I think that's the right choice, right? I mean, how could you bring in a sub at this point? You've really been gelling, and especially, I mean, yeah, it's for both teams. A moment here to stick with the squad that you've been playing with, and man, this map 3 decider is going to be pretty crazy on Cargo. You know, we don't have the predictions enabled. If you do like to predict what team is going to win, that's a feature you can do on Matches Cast on Onward_VRML. Or VRML2, I believe. But if you had to predict, Theta, I mean, I think I'm leaning a bit towards Kai here. They do well off momentum, and as we get into this next round, they have the defensive start.
Seems like an empty. Yeah,
Yeah, it's hard for me to call because I've seen both teams play cargo quite a bit.
Yeah.
I will say that there is a little bit of a wild card in that Mayhem has Cappy on board, and he's always been known as kind of the close quarters bruiser for Mayhem. But I don't know. I think if I absolutely had to pick, I would say Mayhem, but it could easily go to Kai too. I know that's a hedged answer, but it's just really hard to pick between these two.
I hear you. And again, I just don't. Yeah, the questioning of picking into the close quarters here. Maybe they felt good off of their close quarters engagements on Snow Peak. You know, Suburbia, not really the same in terms of tight quarters. I'd say cargo, if anything, mirrors what you kind of get in those tight spaces on Snow Peak better than anything. And maybe they're just trying to sort of replicate the magic they had there. I'm not sure, but we got eyes on base as he has pushed up to an advanced position and may go kind of skipped. You do see Wookiee and Mono going past him using that cargo crate for cover.
Base Lappa in what a lot of people would call center 1, kind of on the left side of the offense's attack in the center. And I don't think, yeah, no one has ID'd this spot. No one has even checked it. But if Joker makes any kind of noise, Base should be able to ID him and set him up for a kill for Semper. But by and large, they are just kind of avoiding this left side. The entire attack is shifting more to the right.
Like I said, they could almost skip him, really. If Sky and James also commit to that wide rotation and don't come up the middle, this position is not going to pay off. Mono finds Semper.
Can I
Nice
confirm that
cross
I'm pretty
angle.
sure I lit them apart?
And that opens up, again, entry. It's such a weird defensive setup where Base is and how this offense has managed to work around him. Cappy's nearly committing to pushing up to objective at this point.
Yeah, I think Cappy's a little disconnected from the rest of the attack, which could work against him right now. Oh, and that smoke lands on the very top of the map. That is not going to be helpful for him, unfortunately. Joker and Base Slap are right next to each other. Base Slap steps up. I think he's going to get this, and there it is.
James here on the corner, though. Maybe Base's next target. Oh, almost a team kill comes in there. Cappy's there.
Whoa! Wow. From my perspective, it almost looked like he had his gun out of his hands for a moment there and then just instantly reacted to seeing Base.
Yeah, I think he was radioing in the pick and that there were more there. And the rest comes through. Cappy pushes in. Utter chaos on the bush, but a big kill, and Kai now down to 3. Where are the smokes is my question, because I don't know, maybe they're not even thinking Cap here, as Cappy just swings out to commit for the challenge on the corner. He goes down, and there's the smoke he needed, just a second too late.
Yeah, you hear the call from the defense to stay tucked. This is one of the easier objectives to defend. You can force people to run out in the open, and they know that. So they're not going to take too many risks. They want Mayhem to come out into the open so they can take them down.
Mayhem is playing this rather passively, though. Sky's still pushed back here. James finds a nade on to engage inside. That's a great toss. Etch and Dazzler are playing this very conservatively, as they should. No need to overcommit. There's the shots from Sky. He tries to push out. Now he has the advantage angle, and he's holding. Catches one. Can he get the second? He ducks back and cover before he goes down. Wookiee's coming in around the flank, and those shots coming through. Dazzler pushes up, and everyone rotates on defense safely for now. Sky goes down to Dazzler. Engage looking for Wookiee on this backside. Can't quite find him, as Wookiee is now getting flanked by Engage. The trade there, and looked like that we're into a 1v1.
Ooh, and now Dazzler knows where he is. James putting out those confirmation shots, which is a wise strategy in this situation, but now Dazzler knows that he's coming from that tunnel side. Well, There's footsteps. Certainly James heard that as well. But it looks like Dazzler's concerned that he maybe took those shots and then rotated. He's taking the pattern that he does not want to get capped on, so he's just sticking around the objective, checking every possible angle.
Oh.
Ooh, so close.
Oh, and he gets the kill. He swings out onto James. James gives up his position by missing the initial shots. Kai come out just barely, almost. Mayhem scraping that one back and taking the Marsuck round on their map pick to kick it off. Again, would have been exactly how they started Snow Peak, but this time Kai have thrown them a curveball. They have got the lead just like they did on map 2, and well, they're riding a bit of momentum now, especially after winning that one. You gotta be feeling good. It'll be interesting to hear their comms to see if they are excited or still locked in and playing it cool, because you don't want to let it run away from you, but you want to let it motivate you.
That's always the balance you have to take, is obviously you want to be happy about a positive result, and you want to use that as fuel, but you can't let it go too far and inflate your ego to the point that you start playing so loose that you lose that lead. It's something that takes a long time to perfect as a team.
Just great performances, though, from both squads. The comms so active from these teams. And it's what it takes. You know, you really have to be on point with relaying who you've picked, what enemy you've seen and where, and, you know, who you've seen get downed, where the utility has gone. All of that information is useful, and if conveyed, then has to be processed by your team and utilized. And it takes there's just so many elements to the Onward esport that I just love. You could dive into any one piece, you know, and spend all day practicing it, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And we go to Kai on offense. And we just briefly caught them communicating, but still focused.
So I
You
see
know,
two
not
outside, one all the way
getting
to the back,
overconfident
two
off
right
of that
side.
win, not celebrating, locking it in here for this round. And that's how you got to play it, round to round. I'm going to go on the attack here with some early smokes.
Yep, there's a guy all the way in the back.
And you can see that Mayhem did not opt to use the same strategy as Kai. They're keeping people out of the center, playing much more conservatively, and just keeping everybody clustered near the objective.
Yeah, it's actually interestingly stacked over here to that west side. And I wonder if that is because of the fragability of pushing in from the right. I don't know, but you know, equally vulnerable to nades here if they commit too far too early. Wookie able to cross there, avoids shots. Cappy still peeking, looking for angles. And it's just really a bit of poking. This is truly just these teams poking and prodding each other here through all of the gaps, just trying to find anything, any advantage they can to kick off a push.
Ooh, and Mono gets dazzled as he rushes up to the tunnel side. Now 4v5. Oh, and they're now expecting somebody on the left side, but I think that person they called out rotated back. I'm assuming that was Edge. And Cappy with another one. So now 3v5.
Yeah, Kai playing this one much more conservatively, and it's, in my opinion, the proper way to play this objective. You don't need to overcommit. You don't need to swing out and get aggressive in through the center. You just need to stay tucked in and let the offense come to you, and that's what Mayhem is doing. They're letting this offense come right into their bullets. Down they go with the final kill from Wookie. And a solid hold from Mayhem. Kai just completely getting denied entry on that west side.
A well-played defense ends up with a 4-up. And now we go, let's see, what do we have? Oh, the gas tank's objective. And this one is eminently capable as well, because you have multiple angles. Like, if you have one up, you cannot watch this passively. You have to be on the objective, constantly checking corners, because there's multiple places you can cap from. And I'm sure Mayhem is thinking about that sort of play right now, because they likely just want to shut this down quickly and get to a 3-1 and then close out the match, if possible.
Yeah, it would be the dream scenario. It's going to take a committed push to get up into that cap position. I don't really know of a slow play that I've seen that's worked out here where you don't just invest in heavy smokes and push up to that initial gap in between the buildings. That seems to be, in my opinion, the best strat to get up and get a potential cap position set up. Teams defend against it, as they should, but it doesn't get attempted very often in reality, and Mayhem's certainly a team that's capable of pulling it off, and I think I've seen them do it before, so maybe a play they'll pull out here on offense. But, you know, again, when the pressure's on, when you're onto that map 3 decider, do you invest in that kind of risk? And I think that's what I'm really, again, excited about when we get into these later weeks in the postseason, because what do teams do when it really comes down to the everything on the line?
And so far, sort of underutilized in this match is the fact that they have, they being Mayhem, they have a couple of pretty quick cappers in James and Sky Joker.
Yep.
It's just a matter of getting that set up. And of course, when you're playing a team of Kai's caliber, it can be hard to get that set up. But this would be the time to try to do something like that with their 2 quick cappers on the team.
Actually looks like Kai are the ones going for an aggressive play here as Semper comes crashing forward. Tucks into an early doorway hold. Cappy just across the metal from him. I wonder if we have to keep an eye on Engage. Is he going to continue to commit to aggression here? Because he does peek. James was holding that doorway, and he could potentially find a few kills off of the back. But again, do you commit to that over-aggression or just play it patient? He's got himself a good defensive spot to hold here.
That doorway is pretty dangerous. I'd be surprised if he went up there, but if he does, he's got people who are going to be more than happy to take him out. And then Capitano coming in directly behind our Semper. But Semper's back is covered by Engage. Ooh, but Cappy peeks out anyway. Engage cannot react fast enough.
Engage finds one, instantly pushes up. James IDs and Engage quickly drops back. Lucky that Sky doesn't spot him, and he's gonna live another day. Utility utilized, and now really, if anything, a worthwhile peek there to draw out pieces from them. He's gonna go back for more. Finds James could have had Sky as well, but he goes down in the trade, and Kai and Mayhem tied up with 3 apiece here with 4 minutes left on the clock. Jeez, this series, man.
It's intense, no doubt about it.
No, he's in red container now, middle.
And you can see Kai has reinforced all the areas outside of objective for the most part, because that's where most teams go. They don't like to go directly towards the objective and instead try to encircle it from the opposite side. Mono's about to run into base at the end of the tunnel, though.
Oh.
-1 tunnel.
Yeah, a bit of out of sync commitment there to that push. Cappy and Sky not really making any noise or drawing any eyes while he just worked his way down the tunnel. Now Cappy pushes up, challenges Dyslexic in the center. He goes down, and Sky, the lone attacker, into a 1v3.
Yeah, that sort of 1-by-1 attack is not what you want especially on cargo, because things start to spiral out of control very quickly if you do that. You don't really have a lot of time to regroup, get yourself back together. You need to be pushing together. Especially you got a team like Kai waiting for you on the other side. They know how to hold these angles. They know which areas they need to watch. And they are all, I mean, all 3 lasers from the last defenders right on Joker's position.
Yeah.
He steps out in the open. He's getting shot by all 3 of them.
They've got every exit and entry covered, and we'll have to make some running and gunning kills to get up into a position that'll work. 2-13. And doesn't have to really play it too fast, but yeah, this will be a... I don't know, cargo's certainly possible. If there's going to be a comeback, it could happen there. Dazzler catches the slow swing from Sky, though, and Kai hold well with 3 left alive. Push up their lead 2-1. I don't know. I don't know where we're going. I don't know what's going to happen in this series. The momentum continues to shift back and forth. Now Mayhem obviously go and defend that same objective. And are they going to throw out an aggressive push up? I mean, that was certainly an interesting defensive rollout there from Kai that paid off.
If I'm just going off of the patterns I'm seeing throughout this match, I would say no. I don't think they're going to do that, but who knows? They're getting down to the wire, and the other team has a lead. It might be the time to throw the dice and do something different now, because Kai has so far shown that they've got this map pretty well dialed in.
And, you know, again, it just kind of leaves me scratching the head a little bit why Mayhem would pick into this. Maybe it really is because Deflate is not around for that range. But he wasn't. I mean, he was key. He was their main sniper there on that map. You only have one, and he certainly did it well. So I guess it's why they're sticking to the closer quarters. And they're not a team that's bad at close quarters by any stretch of the definition. So it's just, if you wanted to give a place for Kai to be able to compete, I feel like Cargo is certainly one of those spaces. And they are going to compete here. Mayhem are not going to have any easy rounds on their hands. Even this defensive round that we are diving into now will be a test for the Mayhem defense. We'll pop in to their audio and see what they're chatting about as we kick off this round.
Grenade. Grenade.
Coming.
Mark.
Thanks.
I'm just going for it. I don't have time not to.
You got a smoke? Did anyone bring that smoke for them or not? No, got. Okay.
We need a smoke.
Someone's got it. That's cool.
And you can see maybe I wouldn't say a lack of caring, but Wookiee just going to commit to the cross without any smokes, and he manages to make it.
Watching the cross.
No shots land, but that is information that if they go for it again, it might not result in a successful crossing. And keep eyes on Wookiee, though, as he is committing to a touch of aggression. He does tuck back into a pretty meta corner, and will be planting a bit of a C4 there. I like that placement because how do you can't ID that until it's in a position where it can kill you.
By the time you see that, yeah, you're at the edge of the container, and you're going down if they pull the trigger on that.
So they have control for now of the east side, but Kai stacked on the west. Engage, edge, everyone over here. No one's committed to crossing that street ever since they saw Wookiee make it. And that's a pretty dang good smoke up on the Sky's position to deny vision down onto this lane.
Yeah, it's tough whenever you come up with a good spot like what Wookiee has, and then the entire team goes the opposite direction, so you don't get to use it. But that is painful. Yeah, and James catches Dazzler, but not before Dazzler gets a kill of his own. So now 4v4.
Careful.
Yeah, just a kind of a weird rollout here from Kai. Not out of sync, but base and engage are not really supporting here. James finds Etch pushing up through the crates. Semper is there, able to res, but the confirm. Oh, doesn't come in. Etch still alive. He's gonna get the res. Etch comes up. James there on the corner. Shots come in from Semper. Semper now dead and resable, but James finds both. And without a distraction for him to worry about, he finds two. Base and engage. Simply waiting to push up, and now out of sync comes this Kai offense. Wookiee here with C4 ready to go. And this should be another kill for Mayhem.
There's smoke middle containers where Cappy was watching.
Oh.
Wookiee with clacker in hand. He is just waiting. There's so much anticipation on this spot. He wants to get that C4. And I think he's just looking through that crack and waiting to see any kind of footstep.
Yeah. He's really going to wait to make sure that it kills somebody. He's not going to detonate it any time earlier. I think he could have detonated it there and engage would have gone down. Either way, Sky getting rid of base means engage is the only push left, and it's pretty much a guaranteed kill for Wookiee as soon as engage swings out. Here's the push, there's the C4, and there's the round into Mayhem's hands. We're tied up 2 apiece. 3 left alive for Mayhem, just like Kai. Is that not how this series is going, Theta? I mean, it is just a perfect match. 4-2 map 1, 4-2 map 2. We're tied up here. It just doesn't get more in sync. And yeah, we're on track for a 3-3 round 7 right now.
And that is what I personally love to cast, and I know everybody loves to watch, is hotly contested matches like this. It's never fun to watch one team just dominate the other. And maybe you see a couple of dominant rounds, that can be cool, but what everyone wants to see is 2 great teams going at it with everything they've got. And that's what we're getting so far.
Quick shout out to everyone tuning in across the platforms, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and Oculus venues. We do really appreciate everyone that is stopping by and catching the action. If you don't know what venues is, you can pick up your Quest or Quest 2 and download the app on the App Store for free. Hop in and enjoy these games on a big screen with other people in a shared space. It's a really cool way to share and enjoy the games together. If you're in venues, shout out to you. Do appreciate everyone that hangs out and watches the games. And I know it is a favorite spot for a lot of folks on these weekend matchups when we have them on venues to tune in and hang out with their friends and watch the matchups on a big screen. So if you have the option, I recommend you check it out. It is not available currently for PC, but if you have the Quest or Quest 2, you can get in there and enjoy the camaraderie of watching the esports action together. Echo Arena season will be starting soon, and so you will be seeing Echo Arena matchups here and on venues in the near future as well. So if that was something you enjoyed, that will be returning with Season 4's start in, I think, maybe a week's time. It might even be next week. It might even be Mondays tomorrow when it starts. I'm not 100%. I have to verify. Anyway, back into this action because, geez, we have ourselves a heck of a series. Off to the races we go for round number 4. The smoke surround, the pre-fire comes in. James catches base through the smoke. Engage pushes up, catches one, and instantly refragged. 3 kills in 20 seconds. How that nade didn't catch Sky, I don't know, but he survives.
Yeah, I think he used up all of his 9 lives on that nade explosion.
Looks like the res came through, evens it out for a piece. But even Mayhem a bit out of sync. Oh, that's a good nade toss. Doesn't go quite far enough. About an inch short of moving over the ledge and onto base. But Sky is so far forward in comparison. James, Mono, even Wookiee still really not trapped, but playing it patiently here on this east side. And Sky just has to wait for the rest of his team to advance forward to the middle line before they can even try and take control of that center area. Semper is there as a threat. I don't know. Oh, I didn't even realize we were on another, the only new objective on cargo as well.
interesting too because they're using kind of a more traditional defense around
Yeah.
it, like it was one of the red container objectives. But the problem is, if you get somebody on that green container just south of the objective, that's a cap. So you need to have visibility onto those areas. A little surprised we're not seeing anybody in the yellow room in particular. That seems to be the meta defensive spot. But yeah, and they also know that base slapper is on those barrels, hence the early nade throw.
Yeah, super commonly fragged position. And so, I don't know, maybe they'll think he's dead though, because they threw the nade there.
It's possible.
See, Semper able to catch James up through the center. Sky up next on that list if he decides to come out the doorway. When Semper passes the line of fire, Sky dives out to find the kill. Etch not holding that back angle because he has to stay on OBJ because now they just have one person defending it. Base Slappa holding the angle on top. Etch has to rotate around and is looking for Sky on the other side, but the threat has to be observed on objective. If base dies, Mono has a cap opportunity, and I wonder if there's maybe a way Mono can push up and not be ID'd by base, but I think base has a pretty good cone on the objective there.
No, they need smoke for this to work.
Yep.
Especially now that Etch is rotated. But if they drop some smoke, they have their fast capper on the opposite side. The Sky Joker is in position. He could potentially cut through the middle.
Go, 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 go.
And in fact, I've seen people cap from those 3 boxes just to the left of the objective. They put some smoke on it, and then somebody hides on those boxes. It can be very hard to spot.
So I don't know if you knew what the play there was while you were talking. Mono threw a smoke into the doorway, yelled for them to go for the cap, trying to bait out a push from anyone in yellow room. And you can see Mono is really trying to clear out this yellow room. He's not expecting base to be there. Goes down in a trade, and now Etch is the lone defender, so Etch has to crash. Actually doesn't. A really nice spot that he can hold there on objective, but is going to continue to rotate. Sky's going to find the angle there. Mayhem take the lead off of a nice Marsoc round on this new objective. They go up 3-2, and, well, I don't know. We'll see what Kai can do on offense, but I suppose we've been trading rounds. That could continue, or it could be another 4-2 map for Mayhem. They could continue their climb back up to glory on the ladder. That would be a nice day for them, but either way, you know, if either team loses this, it's not going to hit them too hard at this point. Because they both won a map and kept it close in the overall scoreline, it's not going to be a terrible loss in rank when they do lose here tonight.
I was going to say, things started unfolding quickly in the last round, but winning a Marsoc round like that was critical for breaking the scoring symmetry that was going on. Because we've been trading Volk rounds every time, so now, if Mayhem keeps up the pattern, they can play a strong Volk round and close this out. And likewise, if Kai can win this, then they go back to their strength. So this round, yeah, obviously Kai has to win this, because if they don't, they lose the whole match. But lots of pressure building up right now for both teams.
Yeah, the series point now on the line as Mayhem stare down a potential series win. They just have to hold on a brand new objective introduced to Cargo. And I say brand new, but it's been around for at least this season. And so teams have had some time to prepare for it. Cargo wasn't in the map pool in the middle section of the season, but returned here, and so even, you know, maybe not a ton of practice for this new OBJ, but I guess we'll see exactly how Mayhem are going to decide to defend this one. Some early defensive smokes coming out to potentially set them up into some forward positions. Let's see what the end result is. Mono actually going to commit past the yellow building. Mono's going for an aggressive swing here.
I don't think I've ever seen this aggressive of a defense from Mayhem on Cargo. They are usually much more contained than this. I think they just want to throw a curveball at Kai.
Yep.
As it's the last round, and you would think, like, from Kai's
Four green,
position,
one
they would
red.
think that the defense is going to be conservative because they want to protect their lead, and that's when you can kind of throw the dice a little bit and see if you can catch them off guard.
Oh, there it is. Mono peeks out from his position. Dazzler's